And never skip a sewer scope, please. It's every house, no matter what. Please get a sewer scope done.
What is a sewer scope?
A sewer scope is where a plumber comes in and they videotape the plumbing that runs out to the sewer. So we're looking for any cracks, roots, any breaks, any blockages, tree roots, or anything like that. Yeah. And one thing to keep in mind is that during the pandemic, toilet paper.
I know we're talking about.
But one thing that we kept finding in sewer scopes over the last year or so is backups of the wipes. Oh. And so they were clogging up the sewer lines. So, it's the reality of real estate,
You're right. Okay.
No pressure.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for coming.
I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you. So my name is Jaimie Booth, and this is my favorite mortgage podcast.
Love it.
And we are going to have a very special guest today who's with us now. Well, not we're going to. We have a special guest with us today. Welcome, Eunice Gillis.
Well, thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you so much for coming. She's a licensed realtor here in Southern Arizona, but also can do homes up in the Phoenix area, right?
Yes, Phoenix, Scottsdale, Santan, Gilbert, Goodyear, any of those areas.
Nice. Yes. Well, thank you so much for coming. My favorite mortgage podcast is actually a little behind the curtains of the home buying process.
Yes.
All the way from pre-approval to closing at the table. And the purpose of this podcast is really to kind of share some light on the good, the bad, the nail-biting, who it takes to get, to the closing table, who's in your corner, how many people are actually involved. So we want to discuss everything from pre-approvals to the closing table and everything in between. Mm-hmm. So this podcast is to also provide some insight, maybe help answer some questions. Maybe someone's experience is very similar, has the same kind of questions. So sit back, relax, enjoy the conversation. And if you know anyone that has any questions or stories, please feel free to email us. And thank you for tuning in.
Great.
Okay, let's get started. So we have a little tradition now.
Uh-oh.
We want to start off with some trivia.
Okay.
All
right.
So I have random trivia, and I did find out that this was a Christmas present. So I haven't gone through all of it, but are you ready?
Yes,
okay.
Ready.
Random trivia.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay. What was gunpowder first used for before it helped equip firearms?
Oh, I believe it was in the medical world, I want to say.
Think further back in time.
Either that or to start fires.
Close. Fire. The gunpowder.
Matches.
Gunpowder. It explodes in the air.
Dynamite.
Fireworks.
Oh, fireworks.
You're like, you had the first part. I should have gone like two words. All right. So, yeah, fireworks. So gunpowder was actually used to help fireworks.
Oh, awesome.
All right.
I knew there was many different uses for it, but
yeah.
I did not know fireworks was one
I was
of
thinking,
them.
where is she going with medical? Weird.
Somewhere, somehow, some randomness, I heard that it was used for medical treatment,
okay.
like for like open wounds, but I might have been watching a movie. Who knows? So,
all right, go ahead and draw a card, and we'll show the audience how stupid I am.
Let's see. Couldn't get any worse than my answer. So let's see. Who wrote the classic novel Frankenstein when she was just 18 years old?
Shelley.
So I'll do the...
Okay, Shelley. I can't remember her first name.
I will give you a clue.
Okay.
Jesus' mom.
Mary Shelley.
Yes.
Thank you for the clue.
Yeah, no, I think that would have made it too easy.
Yeah, well, it helps. So now I don't feel so dumb. Okay, well, again, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to dive in a little bit of a few transactions. Eunice and I have been working together, and we've had some some good transactions, some really fun, successful transactions.
Yes.
But there's something we're going to do different this time because we've talked about, the successes. I want to hear an ugly one. Like, I want to hear a challenging one and what was involved. Did we overcome the obstacles? And were we successful at closing?
Yes. Oh, my goodness. There's always minor challenges or challenges where you just think, oh my gosh, how are we going to get past these? And ultimately it comes down to really having a buyer has to really know they have someone on their side, really working hard for them.
Yes.
And really looking out for their best interests and being the voice of kind of reason and talking them through tough situations. And definitely as an agent, you don't ever want to hit the panic button. But of course, in the back burner, you're just like, bah, what am I going to do? So in the particular instance, most of the time when things really go afoot is, when you're walking a property and all of a sudden these things that you didn't see with your eyes, going through it visually, inspecting a property, the surprises come when you finally have a home inspection.
Right.
And you have, like in the instance of mine, the challenge was that the furnace and the AC were completely just not functional.
Okay.
And it was not presented in the listing in that matter.
Okay.
Where had we known, then a little more caution, a little more different approach and things like that. So the good news about it, though, is that we had negotiated a little bit of a lesser price on the property.
Okay, nice.
And so when this came out in the inspection report about the malfunctioning heater, and it was a safety issue to boot because the furnace was letting off carbon monoxide.
Oh, my gosh. That's extremely dangerous.
And so it came to light that the furnace had actually been inspected twice and that no repairs were agreed to be done. And
was anyone living in the house?
No, at that time, no. So it was a remodel. And so caution to the wind when you're looking at these houses that are remodels or flips, as they call them. You have to be a little more diligent, And even though we had done that same scope of diligence and everything, that came out. And so the challenge, of course, was now here we are beyond where we can step back and say, hey, we're not going to move forward because literally my client was going to be homeless. And she had already sold her house. It was closing. Okay. We had one day to find her a house while she was here from out of state. So we were like Thelma and Louise status, just going and looking at all these houses in this little window of time. Hair on fire, just, So it made that a little more challenging. So when this came out and there was no backing out of her sale of the other property, it was a done deal.
It was done.
She had to move forward with this one. So, immediately she began to just panic. What's going to happen?
Aww.
I wasn't prepared for this expense. And I said, that's okay. Let me take a run with this. Let me see what we can do with it. So with communication, I was able to get in contact with a great AC company. They came out right away. We got the estimate. I was able to speak to the listing agent and just kind of pled my case of everything that we were aware of.
Especially since it's a health hazard.
Yes. And so what turned out to be what was an almost scary situation is just because of the communication skills that I had and how I was able to kind of negotiate a better solution for my client with the agent. And so together we came up with a solution that would save my client some money and she was going to be able to have the AC put in. So
she's getting
a brand new air conditioning furnace unit. So it was installed after the fact. In this situation, though, I personally I came to the table, and so did the other agent. We came to the table together and negotiated amongst ourselves in order to make it a win-win for not only the seller and the buyer, but it took a contribution on both our parts to bring everybody together.
Right.
So in that instance, when, that happens, that's the right thing to do at that time for your buyers and sellers. And everybody walked away happy, even though it was like a freak out moment there for my client.
I like what you said, the panic button.
Yes.
Like the buyer was hitting the panic button and you were there to help.
Yes. Yeah. And sometimes, in order to work that out, sometimes you do have to kind of step outside the box and come to an agreement. And sometimes it's not just me, it's everyone involved with the transaction, from lender to the seller's agent to the sellers themselves, and just making sure that you kind of build that relationship so that everything moves forward and we find a good alternative.
Because the last thing anyone wants to happen after you've come that far into an accepted contract after inspections is for it to fall apart.
Yeah.
So that's a great story where everyone kind of put their, part in and compromise, but in a nice, professional way.
Yes.
And everyone kind of just made it happen. That's a great story.
Yeah, and I think it's about maintaining that professionalism. And as long as it's, where, yes, things are going over here, there's all this chaos going on. But by maintaining that level head as the buyer's agent, I was able to communicate those concerns over to the other side, kind of weigh things out for them, and what it would look like for things to just kind of fall by the wayside.
Blame. Let's just move forward. What can we do together? Put our heads together.
Yes.
And that's one thing that I absolutely admire from you, Eunice, is that you always do keep this level head, and you may not show it, and maybe you go home and then your hair's on fire. But to the rest of us, is you're calm, collected, and like you said, level-headed. It is just. Yes. I can absolutely agree with that.
Yeah. So it's just there's no need to come into the approach of start blaming,
pointing
it's like
the finger.
pointing
Never
the fingers.
helps.
No, never. So it was just a matter of, okay, so we're here. Let's kind of sort through everything and let's come to a really good solution for everybody.
Yeah.
And, she needed a home to live. They needed a home to sell. And, let's just make it a win-win overall. And let's just everyone just kind of come together and find that solution. So
and she not only needed a home for herself.
Right.
She had
3 cats, was it? Three
exotic-looking cats.
Yes.
I did come with you when we were bringing a housewarming gift, and these 3 cats were just, first of all, they were huge. They were like dog size, but then they looked like little leopards with their spots.
They were beautiful.
So pretty.
Oh my gosh, they were amazing cats.
Yeah.
And then
so that was
the turning
cool.
wheel that
that's right. The one cat was doing his exercise like a gerbil.
Oh, so funny. I've never ever seen that before. It was the best. Oh my gosh, it was awesome.
Yep. So her and her cats are all settled in.
All settled, working furnace, working AC. And that was really the only thing, but
But that's a huge expense.
It was a huge expense.
And something that, once you did get that inspection, because let's face it, this market is trending to kind of be very similar to the last few years, where inspections are getting waived. And you and I have talked about this before, is
Never waive your inspection.
No.
Never.
Get
never.
the damn inspection.
Yes,
especially
absolutely.
in this case, if she wouldn't have known, I mean, that's a matter of life and death.
Yeah,
especially with that carbon monoxide.
There is other ways to bypass, so that you don't bypass that inspection. There are other ways to word it so that it's a win for the buyer and a win for the seller. And also extended conversations with their representative, just finding that, because it could be a win. It's very hard to kind of narrow it down to one specific thing, because each transaction or each property has its own idiosyncrasies that you have to be mindful of or be careful of and things like that. And so I always look at each home as, you have to learn to identify each home as per the year that it was built. And what are the type of things that you're going to encounter, semi-foresee what might be some of the issues with the houses based on when they were built. For example, homes that were built in the 90s, you're having to deal with polypipes, which it's not a matter of when, not a matter of if, it's a matter of when those pipes are going to burst.
Yeah. Yeah, those aren't used anymore, guys.
No,
but
they're
the
not.
poly pipes still creep up on us
Yes, yeah.
as being an issue with homes.
Exactly. And then homes built probably prior to the 1980s, you're dealing with galvanized pipe or clay pipes, which was a situation that we ran into with that house because it was built in 1961 or something like that.
Yeah.
But
And
but
lead-based paint, too.
yeah, and never skip a sewer scope, please. It's every house, no matter what. Please get a sewer scope done.
So what is a sewer scope?
A sewer scope is where a plumber comes in and they videotape the plumbing that runs out to the sewer.
So they'll bring a camera in, put it into the house,
the
sewer lines to the city or whatever.
Yeah. So they'll run the scope.
And what are you looking for with
So
that?
we're looking for any cracks, roots, any breaks, any blockages, tree roots or anything like that.
Yeah.
Some of the older houses with big trees or anything like that, you're looking for any roots that are growing into the lines.
Because that would be a huge mess.
Huge mess.
If something were to break or even just like high water bills if you've got a crack or something like that.
Yes. And a lot of people, and one thing to keep in mind is that during the pandemic, toilet paper.
I know, we're talking about
But again, these are these are the, oh my gosh, the things that come up, unfortunately. Yeah. But one thing that we kept finding in sewer scopes over the last year or so is backups of the wipes. Oh. And so they were clogging up the sewer lines.
Yeah, wow.
So, it's the reality of real estate,
You're right.
And so the last thing you want is a backup of flooding. I unfortunately have dealt with, and the reason, just everything I talk about is just from an experience.
You've already
experienced it, or so you learn from those experiences.
All right, guys. So you heard it here first.
Yes, yes. So
sewer scopes.
100%.
So how much does something like that run? If this is a new first-time home buyer, right, and they're already going through a home inspection, maybe they've got a termite inspection.
Termite inspection. AC inspection. So a home inspector is a home inspector. That's all he's doing. He's checking, make sure everything's functioning. They're very well versed, but they're not specialists in whatever that field is. I mean, you might have like home builders that become inspectors, so they're definitely a expert.
Background
yeah, they have the background. But certainly you want to bring in a specialist for AC. You definitely want to bring in a specialist for plumbing. You definitely want to bring in a specialist for a roof. So an inspector, they will, definitely warn you or kind of bring things out that need attention, not to scare you or anything like that. It's just to make you aware. Hey, just so you know. Yeah, just so you know, this is what's going on. Prepares you for how you want to approach those items.
Gotcha.
And so once we get that, then I bring the experts in, AC person, sewer scope, and roof inspector that specializes in roof, because sometimes a inspector might say, well, but I'm not a professional, so you might want to have a professional come take a look at it. And so that's what we do. So I kind of already have all that in the play.
You got a good group of people.
Yeah, a great group of people, great inspectors, plumbers. I partner with solid people that show up and can do things rather quickly, because we only have that little small 10-day window to get all this done.
And 10 days goes by so fast.
Goes really fast.
They blink and they're at day 10.
They are at day 10.
And
so if I know I have a really good chance of winning an offer for my client, it looks really good, I'm already calling those inspectors and scheduling them. So
interesting. And that way, if it doesn't pan out, you could just cancel the appointment.
Yeah, I just cancel the appointments. And so I'm already asking, when's your next available?
Nice.
And because I have built that relationship with these specialists, they already will hold those appointments for me.
Pencil me in
because they know how I work. They know that I'm solid, that I have a good reputation. They love how I treat my clients. And so they really pretty much bend over backwards to help me.
And that's when we're talking about a team behind you, it's not just a realtor or a lender.
Right.
It is also who's in our pocket, in our team, because there's so many people.
Yes.
And you have a good group of professionals specializing in certain things. Same thing on the mortgage side, guys. I have an assistant. I have a closer. I have a underwriter. I have a processor. And, you don't really see those people face to face, but we've got a good team behind us, and you've got a good team behind you.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely a relationship type built business. And so you treat people right, they'll return that favor back to you.
Hey, I have a question for you. What is a secret hidden talent that you have?
Oh my gosh. I wouldn't call it
can
a
you
talent.
juggle? Do you snowboard?
I wouldn't call it a talent per se. I do wedding cakes. So
you decorate cakes?
I decorate cakes. And so I retired from actually making these ginormous cakes, but I love baking. I love just being able, it's therapeutic really when I get in there and just start baking and mixing, and
you zone out.
I zone out
and start making beautiful pastries.
Yes.
I did not know that about you.
Yeah, so that's one of my favorite things I love to do.
Is baking.
Yes.
Okay. So do you ever make clients cookies or cupcakes?
No, I don't. So it's just more now. It's just more for fun for my grandchildren, where I'll make them a birthday cake or cupcakes in that scope. But I don't do it as a profession anymore.
Okay. So. Well, I'm still gonna have to sample this. So, what book are you reading right now?
Right now, oh my gosh, I'm so bad with the names. I actually have. So believe it or not, I tend to be really shy. So I'm actually reading a book where kind of someone like myself who is a little more timid, introverted. So it's 7 ways to kind of come out of that introvertness.
Nice.
I'm very happy being at home, just kind of sitting on my couch with my 3 chihuahuas. And
you know what? I think that it's also when we get to this age, man, I don't want to go out. I really want to sit at home with my dog and on my couch with Netflix or HBO Max. Yeah. I rewatch the same shows over and over. Yeah. Do you rewatch?
My husband and I always sit down and watch like a series together.
Yes.
So it's kind of like our routine, certain time of the night where we sit down and watch the same shows. And
what show are you watching right now?
So
The Great Bake Off.
So we actually, so right now they're on the season, but of course Yellowstone is our.
Oh yes,
my gosh,
everybody likes that.
We love that show, and
I'm not streaming that service to watch it. I think who's it on now?
Paramount.
Paramount. I feel like I have so many streaming services right now with. HBO, Hulu, Netflix, that I can't do another streaming.
Yeah, so
I got to get rid of one.
The same one that wrote Yellowstone has a couple of other shows. Like he wrote 1883, which is a spin-off to Yellowstone. And I think the other one is, what's it called? I'm trying a blank, but it's another spin-off
from Yellowstone. Who's your favorite character in Yellowstone?
Well, Kevin Costner, of course. It's like, who doesn't love Kevin Costner?
No, you're right.
And then the other one.
He's from Bodyguard, though. He got me a Bodyguard with Whitney Houston. I'm really dating myself, but he was so handsome.
Great movie. Yeah.
Right? Dances with Wolves.
Dances with Wolves.
Kevin Costner, if you're listening, follow along.
And then the other new one, and oh my gosh, I just have this 5-minute brain that nothing sticks in the scope of TV shows or characters.
My book title.
But it's the new one with Sylvester Stallone.
Oh my God, I didn't even know he had something.
Yes, and it's on Paramount as well.
Can I just use your login?
Oh my gosh. It's the same writer of Yellowstone. Oh gosh, what is it? King of...
Mark, what is it? Do you know what it is? No?
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Sylvester Stallone is doing a new show.
Yes.
On Paramount.
Yeah.
Guys, comment in my section because we're just drawing blanks.
Oh my gosh, so good. So good. You have to look it up. It is so good. It's so good that I don't remember the name of it, but I'm just really bad with titles. I'm just really bad with titles. It's a curse. I'm telling you, it's a curse.
Well,
It is a curse.
I know that got off topic of mortgages and stuff.
King of Tulsa.
Oh, there you go.
Yes. It just hit me. Tulsa King. Yes. Tulsa King. Yes.
I'll have to. I'm just gonna borrow your username and password.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. You can. We'll share. You can have my
share.
Hulu.
Oh, I have Hulu already. So.
You can have my HBO.
Okay. I'll take it.
There you go. We'll just switch. And anyone out there listening, just plug your ears.
Yeah. We didn't say that.
Well, Netflix is charging to add people on if they log in somewhere else, right? So that,
Yeah.
I'm sure that'll backfire and they'll go back.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
I don't have a whole lot of time to watch TV, but when it's that kind of a series where my husband and I can sit down and watch it together,
that's your quality time.
That's our quality time.
Yeah.
And then we're talking about what's coming next, and then when it runs out, we're like, like pins and needles. So we're anxiously waiting for the new season.
Interesting. Well, I know that you also take some or have completed some specialized training in real estate.
I have.
Some certifications. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yes. So it's very important to me to be able to serve my clients to the best ability, and one thing about real estate is you never stop learning. But we are such a big military town. We have many retirees that come to our area. It's beautiful here, so it's just a great place.
It's a golf community.
Yeah, golf community.
Yes.
You don't want me behind a golf club, but I might go visit a golf range.
I'll do putt-putt.
Yeah.
That's about all
I'm just too dangerous to, be hitting a ball anywhere.
Yeah, no, me neither.
But yes, so we have such a vast, diverse type of, that we can accommodate so many different lifestyles here, from cycling to golf to retirement.
Lots of outdoor stuff.
A lot of outdoors.
Our mountains, hiking,
bird watching. We have some of the best bird watching. If you don't know this about Arizona, we have some of the best bird watching out in Madera Canyon. So we have a lot of people who come specifically to see the birds that we have.
Yes. The birds.
And then we have, of course, our big military bases that we have here in Arizona. And then we have, in Phoenix, we have Luke Air Force Base up there. We have Davis-Monthan here. We have the Air National Guard here.
Fort Huachuca.
Fort Huachuca. And so what I do is I'm a military relocation specialist, which is a designation that I earned. And one thing that I'm very passionate about helping my military veterans, first responders. They give so much to us that it doesn't feel like I can give enough back to them.
I agree. That is very well said.
Yes. And also because I am the wife of a first responder, so I see what they go through every day.
Well, Eunice, I wanted to thank you again so much for sharing some very valuable information, a great story or two. We learned a lot today about inspections and the sewer scope. Because on my side, I don't really get involved in that. So thank you so much for sharing that information. And it is something that, when you are buying a home, think of this too. Think of your inspections. Thank you so much again for joining today's podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Eunice Gillis, guys, certified military relocation specialist,
senior real estate specialist, and also C2EX, which is my commitment to excellence in this industry.
Well, I've really, really enjoyed our time today, and of course we've got some deals going on right now.
Yes.
But we really hope that you all enjoyed this episode as much as we did. Before we go, I do want to remind everyone to please subscribe to our podcast. We're on YouTube, Spotify, any of your favorite platforms so that you never miss an episode. If you do have a moment, please leave us a review. Your feedback helps so that we can bring on more specialists, maybe have some questions answered.@There are no stupid questions, so please feel free to email us any suggestions, topics, or questions at myfavemortgage@gmail.com. We will be happy to input your information into our next podcast because we want to really strive to make this as informative, motivational, and helpful so that you're on the right path for home ownership. Again, thank you so much for listening, and thank you, Eunice.
Thank you,
We'll be
Jaimie.
back for another episode.
Right.
Stay tuned.
Thank you so much for having me. This was fun.
Okay, bye-bye.